Women are learning to play by the rules of patriarchy. They are learning how to capitulate rather than fight back, which again I'm going to talk about as I move on into this. Now, here's an interesting image about Sports Illustrated. When I first brought this home, my husband, who's sitting over there, who actually is my partner of 30 years and makes all of this possible in many ways, he said he looked at this, and he's not very image literate, my husband, and he said, why are they using the same woman 8 times? Right, sorry, David. Well, the truth is, he was wrong, but in a way, he was right. Because this is the truth of women in media, is they are stripped of a past, a present, a future, an identity, a name, goals, aspirations, wants, desires. They're stripped of all of those. And what's delivered up to us in the media are body parts of women who are indeed interchangeable. As long as you've got a flat stomach and toned thighs and rounded breasts and of a certain age and usually white, you are the same as the next. You're all the same.
Gail, that is absolutely not true. There are wide varieties of body types in pornography. You say that they have to have large breasts. Well, no. Go look at Sasha Grey. She's probably one of the most, one of the hottest porn stars. As in hot, I mean, you know, I think she's sexy, but when I say hot, one of the most popular porn stars at the moment. Her hair color is jet black, in contrast to what you say about blondes. She does not have D-cup breasts, she has B-cup breasts. And you say that all, you know, there's a lot to go about with breasts in men. You know, not all breasts are interchangeable. Not all, you can't just say, oh, well, that's a set of D-cup breasts, so, you know, it's just as good as another set of, any set of D-cup breasts are equally good. No, that is just wrong. Completely wrong. Anyone who's gotten, like, okay, if I look at a woman in the porn industry like Taylor Vixen, she's my favorite, I'd say. She has natural D-cup breasts, and they look great, I think. I wouldn't look at a woman like Nikki Benz and say her breasts look good. In fact, I think they look repulsive. They are obviously plastic, and they are obnoxiously uppity. And just because they're D-cups doesn't mean that they're just as good as Taylor Vixen's breasts. No, that is just wrong. Secondly, you say you think that you say it in other videos that men prefer blondes, and you know Nikki Benz is a blonde and Taylor Vixen has jet black hair. There is something about me that, you know, I like women with jet black hair. It's just something I think is sexy. Jet black hair has always been a turn on for me, so that goes against what you say that all men only like blondes. Another thing you said is she has to have a flat stomach. I saw Taylor on Opie and Anthony, and she was gonna flash him or something, and one of them said, you know, her stomach has a nice little puff to it, and honestly it does, and I think that that's really sexy. She's not just some, I mean, she's not like fat or anything. She's not like a blimp like you probably think is men should find sexy. But Gail, the thing is that fully figured women, many men, including myself, find attractive. I'm not saying that I find a woman who's a blimp attractive. I'm saying that I find a woman who's not just like what we depict in the media as attractive to be attractive. That's not what all men are into, and clearly if you think that, you're just stereotyping all men. I'm not going to say it makes you a bigot. I mean, if you said all men hate fat women, well, not all of them do, but a good majority of them do. And it's just a misconception to say all men hate fat women, just as it is to say all men don't think all fully figured women are too fat. No, they don't. There's a difference between fat and fully figured, like, and it's pretty obvious. Furthermore, Gail, There are plenty of women who have B cups who do well in the porn industry. Let's see if I can think of some off the top of my head. Capri Anderson, Shyla Jennings, those are two really popular models. If you go on FTV Girls, a lot of their models have A cups and B cups, and they're not all D cups. Yes, there are a lot of busty women on there, but the guy who runs the site, Rob, I think, Rob says he likes to, mix it up a little. So, and the thing is, he just makes sure they don't have implants or tattoos. He said he likes to keep that to a minimal, and I think that's great. That's something I like. But, there are scads of women with B cups in the porn industry. And another one would be Lux Cassidy. There's another one. Ashlyn Ray. So there's 4 of them right there. They're decently popular, and they don't need breast implants. Let's see. Lux got Penthouse Pet in October 07, I think she said. So to hell with the concept of that you have to have get a boob job or whatever, and all large breasts are the same. But there are women who probably look better, have great looking B cup breasts. I think they don't need a D cup to look good. The B's look great on them because it suits their body. They may be a bit thinner, and the women who are a bit thicker look better with the D cup breasts. But to say that all breasts are the same is bullshit. Assuming that they're D cups.
And what does that mean? It means that is what objectification is about. When women are stripped of an identity and you are told that this is all that matters. And again, I can't say just how important this is in a world today where my students from very early age think about how they look. In fact, there's this concept called the hurried child now in childhood studies, saying that little girls especially are having much limited childhood because they're beginning to take on the norms of the culture and worried about what they look like. I have students who do student teaching in schools, and they talk about 8-year-olds not eating their lunch because they're scared to putting weight on.
Of course, yes, you're going to go launch into some anecdotal bullshit tirade about your students and what they claim. Maybe the kids aren't hungry that day. You can't just assume that the kids aren't eating because they want to lose weight. Okay? That's anecdotal evidence, okay? Anecdotal evidence is not acceptable. And the thing is, you're supposed to be academically legit. But you keep saying, I don't really care what you say, Max, about what you and your friends look at on the internet. Max, I don't really care, what sites you guys like to go to, even though, you can get a legit validation from a site like Alexa.com, a traffic website, to show that these websites that, you don't look at are popular. You say that, but then you go into this anecdotal bullshit about your students and what they say, and quite frankly, just because they don't eat their lunch doesn't mean that they are trying to, look sexy at the age of 8. No. That's not... They may be not eating their lunch at the age of 8, but as I like to say, causation doesn't imply correlation. Or correlation doesn't imply causation, excuse me. But it's something simple like that you don't understand, and you just imply shit that can be obviously refuted, and that's just anecdotal evidence, and it's not acceptable.
So what does this mean in our culture today? And you know what? Even if you are a woman and you have a sort of reputation and a nose. So take this. This is last month's Vanity Fair before the Oscars. Now, arguably, these women are at the peak of their career. They're all up for an Oscar for either, for acting. Now, what do you notice about them all? They're unclothed, right? And what do you notice about the men? So it doesn't matter. Even if you are at the peak of your career, you are still delivered to men in the same way. And it is no accident that in prisons, the first thing prisoners have to do is strip naked. Because to be naked in the presence of somebody clothed is to be in a vulnerable situation.
Oh my God, you don't understand why people have to be stripped naked in prison. It kind of makes sense if you actually think about it. You know, they smuggle a lot of shit in prison. People hide things up their ass crack, inside their anus, to make sure that it doesn't get seen by the cops or the guards, including drugs or even just things that are, that would be quite painful to shove up your ass. But the reason that they have to strip search prisoners is nothing to do with embarrassment. It has to do with security. And clearly, the fact that you don't understand that is just jaw-dropping. Prisoners have, they have rights. Just because a lot of them are scumbags, doesn't mean they have a right to be tortured. But, they have to strip search them, or else, that's how a lot of drugs get in prison, and still drugs do get in prison because they're not allowed to search their anuses, which I agree with, but, they're gonna put drugs up their ass, basically. It's just, that's the way that, you have to have a lot of security in a jail. There are people in jail serving 3-month sentences who didn't do anything just absolutely horrible. They may have not been thinking, and they're serving a 3-month sentence. They need to especially be protected from these weapons of people who are serial killers. They're going to get out of prison soon. They're probably going to have a life. They're not going to be, they'll probably make something of themselves. There's some people who may have decent jobs and they may have messed up a little bit and they're serving 3 months in prison. That's a lot different than someone who's a lifer or probably a serial killer. And those people, as I said, they need to be protected, as does everyone else in the prison, including the guards and other prisoners. So that's the purpose of strip searching people in prison, not to embarrass them. I don't know where the fuck you got that idea from. Furthermore, Gail, there is another thing called CFNM porn in the realm of pornography. Of course, that magazine's not pornography, but as in Vanity Fair is not pornography, but CFNM stands for clothed female nude male porn, and there is a ton of that on the internet if you so desire to look for it. I doubt that you will even acknowledge its existence because you take a narrow scope of the realm of pornography. You just look at this tiny amount of pornography is what you say that there is, and you don't look at the wide scope of pornography. There is plenty of CFNM porn out there, and I've seen plenty of it. I'm not a fan of it, of course. I don't really get the psychology of it, but there are people out there that do enjoy it, and to ignore its existence is to ignore the psychology of a large number of people.